but I get resentful when things have been taken away from me that should belong to me, right? And so, and it's really funny, and I don't know if it happens so much out this way, but in northern Minnesota and even in the cities, there's still a clash between the Lutherans and the Norwegians. I mean, the Swedes and the Norwegians, and the Czechs are different than other folks. Do you have that phenomenon down here as well, right? And so one of the things that, and we'll talk more about this in oh, good, I got it out. That I want people, and this is going to sound really weird and strange, and don't take it the wrong way. I want white people to be proud of being white. Now, I'm not saying walk around with with signs and little Koen hats and all that kind of crazy stuff. But what I am saying is that all too often, society and the media has tried to separate us and not allowing us to feel okay to be who we are, right? How many of you elected to be born the color of skin that you were born, right? None of us elected that. We came into this world trying to figure out how to be the best person that we can be. And I want you to do that. Because typically in a lot of these diversity conversations, what the trainer tries to do or the organization tries to do is they try to tell white people that you have to give up something. Have you heard that in the popular media? That, this group or that group wants something from white people, or we want to redistribute wealth, or, all these little catchphrases. When, in fact, does that even make sense? Does it make sense to take food out of your family's mouth to give it to a stranger? Does that make sense? Am I here by myself? No, it doesn't make practical sense, right? And a lot of these diversity conversations say that. And so what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm not going to ask you to give up anything. I want you to keep all of your stuff. As a matter of fact, I want you to get more stuff. But at the same time, I want you to allow me access to get my stuff too. Don't try to block me from getting my stuff too, right? So keep your stuff, just allow me to get my stuff too. But we'll talk more about that in just a little bit. So here is a little bit about me and my family. So that's me as a small baby. And so this is me with, I don't know if you can tell, but my bow tie is almost as big as my head. And when I asked my mom about that, she gave me the same answers that she always did when she made our clothes. That's the style, right? And this is my grandparents. That's Laura, and that's John. And this is my Uncle John, my Uncle Alonzo Frederick, and that's my dad, William Koen. And this is my family in our Cosby years. If you look close, you can see Vanessa. And then this is me in high school. And I have to apologize right now because my generation was the generation that created the sagging. Yes, with pants. Yes, I know. I apologize. I didn't know what kind of Pandora's box we were opening, right? But I'm at a concert, and this is my friend Samisha, and she just retired 22 years in the military. So I'm really proud for her. And she's holding a Uzi semi-automatic weapon. And this is my friend Sharon. And this is me, and I'm holding a double-barreled sawed-off shotgun. Now, I know that seems alarming, but context is everything. So we were at a concert when we took this picture. And I don't know if you know what the band plays or you know the band itself, but the band's name was Public Enemy. All right? So that kind of gives you the theme of what that was about. And so all of these things are extremely important in the development of who I am. Because I came from this background, and my father in the 60s was a Black Panther because he saw the assassination of Dr. King and said, I want to do something about that. And so he became a Panther, and he did all the stuff that Panthers did at that time. And primarily Panthers were a political party who wanted to raise black people up out of poverty. And so, so he engaged in those activities until 1970, when the most amazing thing that could ever happen to my father happens. No, me! I was born! It was me! Right? And so then he realizes that the revolution is no place for a family and that the retirement plan sucks. So he leaves the revolution and he becomes an evangelical, fire and brimstone, Bible-thumping preacher. Hallelujah, yeah! So I am my father's son. And so all of those parts are who I am. And so when we talk about this dignity, the significance, belonging, and safety, it really touches me because it's a good balance of all of those things. All right? And so all of that stuff led me to kind of think about some of this stuff as well. And so what I want to talk about what diversity is not. Yes, sir?
Just one question while you're
Yeah.
about you. What subject did you teach in high school?
I taught leadership.
Leadership. All right.
Yep, I was a leadership teacher, so we did ropes
I didn't
courses.
sure if I had teacher.
No, I didn't do it. Yeah, I didn't do that stuff. So, diversity is not political correctness. What is political correctness? Okay. But what does it mean to be politically correct?
Fit in with the norm.
Fit in with the norm. Follow the rules. Say the right thing. How do I know if, what's the difference between a colored person and a person of color? Right? How do I know if you're black or if you're, oh, by the way, I am black. I just wanted to tell you, just in case. I don't want to alarm anybody. Right?
Just whether it's black or African American.
I'll get to that right after this piece right here. Right? So political correctness. I'm doing a training, and a woman stands up and she says, Andre, I want to know why all the colored people are moving into my neighborhood. How does the audience respond to that? Were you there? Who gasped, right? That's what they did. They said, and why'd they go?
They're probably thinking, how can you ask a question like that?
How can you ask a question like that, right? You're not supposed to say that, That's politically incorrect. But as she stood there, I could see that this woman did not have a lot of stamps in her passport. It was very clear that she wasn't a world traveler. It was very clear that she hadn't had a whole lot of experiences. And so as a facilitator of this process and of this class, what was my responsibility to her question?